Welcome to another edition of the Summer of Sleaze series continues, and a big shout out to my friends at the Death Curse Society. Check out the Death Curse Society on Facebook or deathcursesociety.com. So, what film are we going to talk about today? Okay, 1974, around then. If you follow Italian cinema, you will realize that basically the Gladiator movie stars became spaghetti western stars. And after that cycle went out, they became crime film stars. And the thing was that Lee Van Cleef had basically done his last western, I believe it was it Kid Vengeance, I think, which kind of sucked. It wasn't a good send-off for Lee in his western career. But anyway, he did a couple crime films, and one of them was a film called Mean Frank and Crazy Tony. And it suffered a lot for some reason. First off, there was a big VHS release, I think USA Home Video, that was only 74 minutes. Then it was released as Escape from Death Row, also cut, and Power Kill, which was also cut. The premise is that Lee Van Cleef, and this shows Lee's acting chops, is a mafia don. And a rival group is wiping out his underlings. So what he does is he sets himself up to be arrested. But then there's this guy, Tony, played by the late Tony Lobianco, who died a couple weeks ago before I shot this, and, a shout out to his memory because he was a decent actor. So he wants to hook up with Frank and become, a mob guy. So he's in this thing where basically Frank sets himself up to be arrested and has someone on the inside of the prison who basically lets him out for an hour, and he kills a guy by basically making him fall off a fucking terrace. Well, that sort of blows up in his face because somebody puts the squeeze on somebody else and the guy's exposed and he's in trouble, and now Frank is put in Gen Pop with Tony. And there's a couple guys actually, that are assassins. One of them's Robert Hundar, a.k.a. Claudio Uldari, who was in couple of Lee Van Cleef movies, most notably Savada, who is this psycho who kills people with a power drill. And it opens, in the opening scene, there's this mobster getting a massage, and he walks in and basically puts a drill through the back of his head. So that's one assassin. The other assassin is his longtime friend and stunt double, Roman Popo. So Roman takes a shot at him while he's in the prison yard, and they realize that basically Frank is sort of screwed. And Tony says, I got to get you out of here. And Frank is trying to steer him away from the whole thing, but he has a plan. And the plan is that Frank gets in a nasty fucking prison brawl, which is pretty well shot. And you're sort of wondering how much of it was Lee and how much of it was a stunt double. But anyway, that gets Lee transferred somewhere. And in the middle of the transfer, Tony shows up, his jacket smoking on fire, screaming his wife and kids are burning in this car wreck. And they are, because he taped a whole bunch of shit. All the guards except one run down to help the woman, and Tony knocks out the other guard, and him and Frank go to safety. But Frank ain't going anywhere yet, because Frank's pissed off. They go to this other mob guy's place, the one who employs the guy with the drill. And the guy with the drill is fucking around, and Frank sneaks up and gets the upper hand and basically turns around and jabs the drill through his throat. Yeah, Lee's a little bit more meaner than usual in this one. Then the other mobster, the head mobster, is in his hot tub, and of course he is Q&A'd to where the head guy is. And Frank drops a running hairdryer into the tub and fries his ass. So now they go to Marseilles, and there's a little road trip chase there because they have to basically steal a truck that's loaded with barrels of gas and break through the border and head in. And there's a bunch of shit going on there. Well, eventually they do get the mob boss. There's a lot of shooting and shit like that. And Tony kills his first man. And basically they throw the mob boss in the deep freeze and freeze his ass. Well, Frank is retiring. Frank is going wherever retired mob bosses go that haven't been whacked. And he gives Tony the sound advice as, you don't need to be in this life. You shouldn't be in this life. He goes, I survived it. I'm retiring. Go have a good life. So the last we see is Tony in the pool room telling his buddies that, what he's not going to do. It's a shame this film is so fucking cut up. I had somebody actually send me a copy that runs 93 minutes. Some of it's in Italian, some of it has subtitles, some of it doesn't. But you can see this is a really well put together mob movie. And like I said, Lee pulls out his acting chops. He comes off great as a mafia don. So again, why this hasn't hit any of the boutique companies, I don't know. But like I said, really good mob movie, really good performances, and you'll see a lot of people in it that were basically associated with spaghetti westerns now in street clothes as mob guys and other people. So if you can find it, definitely worth a look. Mean Frank and Crazy Tony, and both Lee and Tony LoBianco were gone now, and may they rest in peace. And I thank you for all the work you've done and all the joy you've given your fans over the years with your great stuff. So until next time, thanks for subscribing, thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you on the flip side.